Hey, Kyle, good to see you. Happy Financial Literacy Month. April, of course, is such an important month for a lot of reasons, but also because you and I are focusing on financial education. And something that you really wanted to talk about, something that you prioritize, is making sure that clients are aware of the difference between a traditional and a Roth IRA. This comes back to the importance of tax diversification. So just explain, please, the difference between the two.
Yes. Hi, Erin. And yeah, absolutely. So, from my experience, at least, the IRAs and 401ks tend to be a pretty confusing topic for
Yeah,
some investors to really get a handle on, simply because they're so similarly titled and everything. So,
right.
but really, when we break it down, right, a regular IRA, traditional IRA, is a pre-tax vehicle, meaning that you don't pay taxes on this money. You actually get a small write off, and then you pay taxes down the road when you withdraw it in retirement. A Roth IRA was a later development where you basically go ahead and pay the taxes on the front end, and then you withdraw them all tax free on the back end.
Hmm.
So to me, a simple metaphor is paying taxes on the seed instead of the tree with the
Right.
Roth, right? And so one thing that some people do get frustrated with was when you get into retirement, you've got this huge traditional IRA or 401k. It's like a big tax bomb, that's about to go off as you start pulling the money out. So it's
Right.
definitely frustrating learning the difference between the two for some people.
Yeah, it is complicated. Also, trying to factor in what's my future marginal tax rate going to be, which
Right.
begs the question, why in the world would I want to pay my taxes now?
Yeah, and so you may think, wow. And for some people, it does make sense to take the write-off from the traditional IRA. It's all kind
Mhm.
of depending on your income and your own individual situation. But really, the way that I like to look at it in a simple way is, do I think taxes are going to be lower, or do I think they're going to be higher in the future?
Yeah.
And if you just look at how much debt this country has just kind of uh, built over the last recent years and,
30
and over
trillion,
time,
Kyle. Take a
I
look at
know
that.
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So this, coupled with just the massive amount of spending that we've done with all these stimulus checks and
Right.
the PPP program, et cetera, it really leads us to believe that we're going to see higher taxes in the future one way or another, because we can't continue to carry this level of debt for a really long time. It just doesn't make sense. The government is going to want its money back.
Right. No, to make up for that, they either have to decrease spending, which they don't like to do, or raise
Mhm.
taxes. So really good points. The only thing I want to ask is what is the difference though between the IRA versus the 401k? Because we are also very familiar with the 401k.
Right. And then 401k, again, a very broadly used term because you've got different variations of it, your 403bs, 457s, but really, all that aside, it's simply an employer sponsored plan, right? A retirement plan for employees. It's used as a benefit, right? And so with your 401ks, it's offered through your employer. They're, in charge of kind of administering a lot of parts of that plan for you.
Hmm.
And with the 401k, you put money in to your retirement plan, and your employer usually matches it to a degree, um, as a benefit, right?
Right.
And so with the 401k, you may not have a Roth option inside of there. That's a really fresh, newer development. Some of them do, some of them don't. And then you've got different income limitations, right? So some people, if they've got access to a 401k and their income is pretty high, they may not be able to go and fund their own IRA,
Hmm.
which adds more complexity to your saving strategy. So really, this is a lot of work that we do is helping to get investors to understand, clients, how much should I be contributing to my 401k at work? Should I start a Roth on my own? Should I start an IRA on my own? And then the last little piece of the puzzle in this IRA 401k puzzle is the Roth conversion, right?
Right.
Because that is still an option. People can still can still exercise that option. And all that is in a nutshell is you have an IRA or a traditional account or a traditional 401k and you retire, for example, or you leave your job. You can basically roll and convert that money from a regular IRA to a Roth. What that means is you pay taxes on the money now, which is not fun, right? But it's all tax free on the back end for you whenever you're ready to retire. And if we're looking at higher taxes in the future, in certain situations, it actually makes a huge difference to do that Roth conversion.
Right. And that is such an important conversation to have with your financial advisor because Kyle, as you and I have talked about before, getting rid of the Roth conversion was originally part of the Build Back Better legislation. So, we
Right.
never know exactly what's happening. Congress is talking about it. But like you
Yep.
mentioned, this is so complicated to figure out what's best for you. Kyle, if somebody has any questions, what's the best way to reach you?
Best way to reach us is through our website, firstcoastfinancialgroup.com.
All right. Very easy. Kyle, thank you.
Thank you, Erin.